Okay, looks like it's working. This is my very first live, and I have a few minutes before 10. It's 9:57, so I just wanted to get on here a few minutes early and make sure it's all connecting. I think it is. All right, I'm just gonna hold here for a couple minutes while we wait for 10 o'clock to come. Hey, Lauren. I'm a little early, wanted to get on here just to make sure everything is working, which looks like it is, so yay. We got a couple minutes left here. Okay, I have my notifications silenced, I think. I think I have all the technology stuff dialed in. So we'll see, I guess. My ringer's on silent. Okay. All right. Hey, Katie. This is my first live. This is actually kind of fun to have people commenting in there. That's kind of cool. We'll see how long that lasts. All right, we got 2 minutes left before I get started here. All right, 1 minute. That's cool. I've got my little sparkly filter on. I think this is the one Lauren uses. It's awesome. Can I put this on in real life? I'm going to replicate this eyeshadow at some point. It's really, really great. Okay, almost 10 o'clock. All right, yes. All right, 10 o'clock. So I'm going to go ahead and kick this off. And just for anybody who's going to be here live or watching down the road, I'm so glad you're here. Just to give you a quick little introduction, you can go to my website and hear more about my journey from a Fortune 100 vice president, executive, process designer, sales consultant, territory manager, to channeling and getting psychic downloads and being visited by spirits, all things I didn't believe in at all before this started happening. You can learn more about that on my website by clicking the link in my bio. And today what I'm doing is following the guidance from my guides. About April, May last year, I was asked or told, nudged, suggested that I come out as a channel publicly after channeling for about 1.5 years privately for clients. And serendipitously, the universe brought me the way to do that. And now I have been asked to start sharing these messages to the collective, and I'm taking baby steps. So today, it's streaming to Instagram. And when I was sitting in meditation yesterday, asking my guides what they wanted me to share, I already kind of had a really strong indication of what they wanted me to share because the messages have been coming in a lot from my private clients and through meditations, and I was right. They wanted me to share about the collapse of the old systems and the rebuilding of the new systems, and a little bit more about that and what that means. So I'll preface by saying some of this stuff might not be a super surprise for some of you watching this. Some of this might be new. You might not have heard of this before. I'm just going to share with you just raw truths that I've been getting, and we're getting downloads. Some of it might be a little triggering depending on where you are with mindset around career or business, or who you're working for or where you're working. So take what resonates and throw out the rest. If it resonates with you, it's for you. If it doesn't resonate with you, then you can throw it out. It's not for you. But in true form, I'm just going to go ahead and share everything that they've given me, because it always seems to, they haven't failed me yet. It's always information that when I'm channeling privately one-on-one is always super relevant to the person, and when I'm sharing in groups, it seems to be relevant for most. So relevant for most. All right. So today, sharing about the collapse of the old systems and structures, and how the divine feminine and the divine masculine play a role in this. And when I say the collapse of old structures, these are the 4 pillars that they kind of refer to a lot. I have notes here I'll be referring to, by the way, to keep me on pace. It's finance, banking, money, finance, banking is one, education, medicine, and then political structures or government. And these systems, as you probably have noticed in some form or another, have been collapsing now for a little bit. So they're the education system, especially during the pandemic, you could see that there was a lot of awareness starting to come about the education system when parents were able to watch over Zoom what was going on in the classroom, and there's a lot of questions about the books kids are reading, things like that. The education system, the medical system, and the finance and banking systems are all run by the same umbrellas. These are things I didn't know before, by the way. This is all channeled, but they're all ran by the same structures and the same entities. They all have the I guess it's all in their benefit to work together, basically. So education is a business, medicine is a business, finance is a business. We're not going to talk about politics or government unless they give me the green light to really go there. I'm not really into that anyway, so we're not going to talk about that today. But finance, education, and medicine, it's all a corporation, it's all a business. And when you turn on TV, you can see, and for me anyways, when I'm watching certain apps, there's new Netflix, Hulu, things like that. There are so many commercials about medicine and the side effects, etc. And lots of finance commercials, etc. You can see that it's a business. So these systems are collapsing, and these systems have been in play for hundreds of years, thousands of years, in different forms. It's looked different over history, right? But we're in a time in human history that's really unprecedented, and our systems have gotten to the point where it's so corporate greed and corruption focused and not about the people that they're having trouble sustaining themselves. So they need to collapse. This is actually something that's been predestined. It's been a long time in the making. These systems have to collapse so that new systems and new structures that serve the collective can be built. You can't build new until the old has crumbled. So here's the cool part. Like me, I was called out of corporate banking after over 15 years, about 3 years ago. And like me, I'll speak to the divine feminine first. The divine feminine is also being called out of corporations. So many of you watching this down the road, it's going to be many probably women who are either in corporate jobs or who've been called out of their corporate jobs. And that's not by accident. So before you incarnated, you decided, if you've been called out of the corporate systems or you have felt drawn to create your own business, this was predestined for you. You co-created these soul contracts in this life blueprint that you made to come and learn from the inside out. Meaning, for instance, for me, learning corporate banking inside and out. I knew a lot about corporate banking. I knew, I was very familiar with reports. I was recruited to take over the lowest performing teams because I had such an in-depth knowledge. And then it came time, my soul contract was up to leave, and I was called out to start creating the new. I didn't know that's what was happening at the time, and that's what's happening for many of you. Many of you have left corporate careers in some of those fields that I've discussed, as well as other fields, and you were placed in those or called to enter those systems and structures for a reason, to learn the inside out so that you can become familiar with your little niche of the world and what you came here to influence and impact, and then take that knowledge and leave the systems to be part of creating the new systems. So there's so much information here. I'm trying to keep it kind of high level, but when I'm channeling for my clients, this is the message that comes through quite a bit. I'm a little bit of a warrior. I'm here to defend and to stick up for and to bring the light and to bring truth, etc. So this part lights me up. This is what my guides have shared with me, that the divine feminine specifically are being called out of corporate systems to not only create the new world, but to help facilitate a quicker collapse of the old systems. Because like everything, we live in a duality world. We live in a duality universe. Like everything, there's balance, right? As the divine feminine is being pulled out of the corporations, these structures are even becoming even more unbalanced, and it creates more it creates a faster collapse. And the vision that I get a lot is just buildings like just starting to collapse, just kind of imploding. The more that the divine feminine stays in the systems. So for instance, for me, I was getting the call for years to leave, but I didn't know what that was. I didn't know why I was feeling pulled to leave, but because my ego, my mind, what I had been indoctrinated to believe was that, oh no, I'm going to work in this career till I retire. I'm building up my 401k. All the things that we've been told since we were kids. I had no idea I was being called to leave the corporate system. That's what I was being called to do. Because the more of us that are pulled out, the more that will facilitate the collapse of the old systems. Again, finance and banking, education, medicine, and politics/government. Some of us are being called to stay within the corporations maybe a little bit longer, or for specific reasons. And if you follow your heart and you start to learn how to tune into your intuition, which is another post, you'll figure out why that is and how to manage that, how to stay and manage that if it's rough. But for the most part, many of us are being called out. So in addition to helping these old systems collapse, we're being called out to create the new world. So this is the part that may trigger some of you if this isn't something that you believe in, something I didn't believe in at all before, never even considered it, but it's real. After channeling for 2 years, I can say it's very, very real. Many of us divine feminine who are being called out of the corporations have incarnated before as warriors or truth tellers, or in other positions of influence over history, and we chose this time to come and take part in what my guides call the last hurrah, meaning there have been many times over history that we have incarnated to try and help dismantle this corruption and greed structure that envelops the whole planet. And it hasn't fully happened yet. So we said this time in history, there is many more souls being incarnated as divine feminine. We've chosen to come here as divine feminine women so that we can use our historical powers to create, to nurture, to build, to grow, to create the new world that it's going to be massively needed as the old systems collapse. So entrepreneurs, whatever it is that you're being called to do, whether it's to be a life coach, a business coach, an astrologer, a sound healer, it's for a reason. There's a reason why you're drawn to those things. And sticking to your intuition, sticking to your path. And this is what I do. I channel people's mission and purpose for one, and help you really identify and feel strong about what your path is, so you can cut out all of the fat and stay confident on the path that you're on. Once you learn your path and your purpose and you're confident about that, you'll realize that the reason why you're called into these new endeavors or ventures or businesses that you're creating is because you signed up for this before you came, because you're here to help with the new world. So for instance, with the medicine structure, the health structures of many countries around the world are collapsing. I don't know if, depending on how you're looking, you'll see it. There's a lot of desperation right now. Again, this is all stuff I've channeled. I'm not seeing it. I don't watch the news at all, by the way, at all. So this is all stuff I've channeled. There's a lot of panic right now. You've seen the panic actually in certain forms over the last 3 years about and beyond, further back. But there's a lot of panic right now to keep these structures upheld by the people that are running them, because they're benefiting from all of us. So it actually is. You might have heard of this, you might call it a conspiracy theory, but there actually is truth around keeping us sick, keeping us unhealthy, keeping us stuck on medicines, instead of using plant medicine or whatever it is to heal us. So if you're being drawn to become a sound healer, if you're being drawn to learn Reiki, things like that, it's not, some people consider that woo-woo, but these are ancient techniques of healing. These are ancient techniques that have been proven to heal, and you can find historical documents of this being written out there about how these techniques heal. So the important thing is to put on your blinders and not look at what anyone else is doing and say, oh, I'm drawn to being a sound healer, but that's kind of woo-woo. Who's gonna want to do that? Who's gonna want to hire someone to be a sound healer? Well, many people. It's about marketing and messaging, which is another topic, but you were drawn to this for a reason, because you're here to start creating and getting visibility to different healing modalities to, again, help support a new world and grow new, to help create the new world so the old world can collapse. Because as that old world's going to collapse, which is going to be over the next several years, it's going to continue to collapse. You're going to see more desperation. You're going to see more pushes for, to see doctors and get medicine and get shots and all of that stuff. You're going to see a lot of desperation over the next few years. We need an alternative. We need somewhere to go. We haven't been taught that for the most part in Western society, that there's alternatives. We just go to the doctor and the doctor gives us medicine, right? Or they want to do surgery or whatever it is. Again, it's benefiting a top, very small percentage, right? And even these doctors don't realize that their schooling and everything they've been told is to benefit a system. So as these systems collapse, we need somewhere to go. And so as you're being called to start Reiki or sound healing or whatever the healing modalities are, the alternative healing modalities, Eastern medicine, etc., acupuncture, acupressure points, things like that. It's on purpose, because it's to start getting awareness, to help people start getting awareness that there is other options, so we can start balancing the old with the new as the old collapses, and the new down the road over the next few years will start to rise. Okay. So I touched on the divine feminine, why we're so critical. We volunteer to be divine feminine. Many of us have been tribe leaders, have been warriors, have been truth tellers. We've been the fortune tellers. We've been the right hands to kings in the past. And now we're here to do this in the modern environment. And some of you may have already had experiences like me, where you have a very spiritual interaction or experience that's blown your mind and woken you up. It's because it's the time. You set this time up for yourself. It's time to wake up to your true calling and use everything you've learned up to this point to facilitate the creation of what you're here to create going forward. I also wanted me to touch on, this is a little bit newer. They don't talk about this a lot, but my guides wanted me to touch on the divine masculine and why the divine masculine is so important. I have notes here because they don't talk about this as much. The divine masculine is critical in this. So we have the divine masculine, and then we have the masculine. The divine masculine is, all right, I didn't write this part down, but I'm asking for help here. The divine masculine is confident in who he is. He's not swayed by the media. He's not swayed by what's happening around him. He's strongly rooted in who he is. He's confident. And it's critical. Many souls decided to incarnate as divine masculine to help, for one, this is the note that came in, to support the divine feminine. The divine feminine, there have been tens of thousands, if not more years, where the divine feminine were the leaders. We've been in a patriarchy society in more Western times or more newer times. Divine feminine, typically, we have led in many, many, many centuries. the divine masculine in this time around, and maybe this has happened in history, but what they've shown me now is the divine masculine's here to support the divine feminine, to give her basically space. What they show me is like divine masculine's clearing the path and clearing the space so that we can move forward with less issues, with less restrictions, basically, in creating the new. So the divine masculine is critical. There's a lot of, as the divine feminine is being pulled out of corporations, the divine masculine, there's some of, they're still there. It's critical that they speak truth, that they're speaking love and unity, etc., to make their mark within the corporations, but at the same time speaking beauty and love and support for the divine feminine. So for instance, this is coming in right now. For instance, when women decide to leave corporations, many of us have. I know most of my followers, I think, are women entrepreneurs that have left corporations. Most of my followers being, a couple hundred at this point, because I'm brand new to social media. But we've been called out of corporations, and many of us have been. I personally had many men DM me and say, "What are you doing? Like, you're ruining your career. Like, go back. You need to, like, there's so much for you there. Like, we need you in corporates," or shaming or guilting for leaving the corporations, or making it about, you couldn't, whatever it is, making it a negative thing. We need the divine masculine to not only be brave enough to speak out against all negative rhetoric, but to help support the divine feminine in this work, because the divine feminine work is critical to the entire planet. The entire planet is literally, how do I say this? Many of the eggs in our basket are relying on the divine feminine to follow her truth, to follow the call, to follow her intuition in creating the new systems. No matter how weird it seems that you're called to do something that you feel, I don't know why I'm being really drawn to this, no one else seems to be doing that, you got to follow the call, because you created this experience and this opportunity for yourself on purpose to fit as part of the piece in a bigger puzzle, and this bigger puzzle is to collapse the old systems. You're part of a massive endeavor here, which has been attempted many times over history, but this is again a full-blown divine feminine, like we're here to break the systems this time around. We're here to do it. So we need the divine masculine to help clear the way for us, and to help support us, and to understand that we need the balance. We need the divine masculine. We need those strong supporters of the divine masculine to use their strength to help create this safe container for us, because we're here to guide. We're here to lead the way. And the divine masculine's not threatened by that. The divine masculine says, hell yeah, I'm on board. How can I help, right? All right, what else about the divine masculine here? I think that's, okay, great. So I have here the three things to help the systems collapse. And number one was the divine feminine must continue to rise, find her voice. Caveat, there's many women right now that are creating businesses to help you with that. In fact, specifically, I have a friend who I met after I followed the guidance to come out, on social media. She helps women. She's an actor. She's a speaker, and she helps women find their not just find their voice, but like find the power in it, so that when you speak, it's strong and powerful. There's a reason why she's being drawn to create this business. It's because we as women need help with that. We have been silenced over centuries. We've been squashed over centuries. We've been more than silenced. We've been murdered for our gifts in centuries past. We need all of us as women in our unique businesses to basically cross-pollinate and hire each other and support each other, because we're all here to build each other up with our own unique gifts. So divine feminine, find your voice. There's lots of women out there that are supporting and helping that endeavor. And then number two, to help with the system collapse, is the divine masculine, which I just shared, and the importance of the divine masculine. If you have a divine masculine in your life, Give them love, let them know what your plan is, let them know what you're being drawn to, and let them know that their support is absolutely critical. We need us together as partners to do this. And then number 3, I have 4 here. Number 3, to help allow the collapse of the systems, to create the new. Again, massive endeavor here. This is a worldwide endeavor that's been coming for tens of thousands of years. Number 3 is we must get in touch with our intuition and connect to our higher self. So basically what that means is I just did a course, a 4-week course in November around how to do this, how to use meditation to do this. Connect to your higher self, connect to your guides, because they are the ones that are anchoring us, basically. We don't remember why we came. We don't remember the blueprint we created for ourselves. We don't remember the soul contract that we created for ourselves in this lifetime. We have many soul contracts, but we don't remember, what is our mission and purpose? That comes from following this, quiet, very, very quiet call that gets silenced by the third dimensional constructs, news, TV, friends, social media. That quiet call comes from your higher self. It comes from your guides. Learning how to connect with your higher self, your guides to source, the universe, will create a louder voice in your heart, and your third eye will help to guide you to help you remember what the pathway is for you. It will help you confirm that the decisions you're making, although maybe no one else around you is doing anything like what you're doing, it doesn't matter. You're here for a very specific purpose and reason. And the more you can connect to your higher self, the more you have the confidence and can find the bravery to continue on the path that might be the path of least not traveled very much. I know there's a real phrase for that, but the path least followed. I don't know. Many people doubt the call that they're having to either leave corporate or to start their own business because they don't see other people doing something similar, or because not a lot of people are doing it. Well, not everyone created those contracts for themselves. Not everyone incarnated to be a divine feminine leader to start helping to create the new system. So you have to listen to your call. You have to follow your call. So it's really important that you learn how to tap into your intuition. And I know the word intuition gets thrown around all the time. So what do I mean by that? This is what I channel for people, is I channel their divine life blueprint. So what did they create for themselves? What did you create for yourself before you incarnated? What were the goals here? We're here to do 2 things: to give and to get, to learn and to give back to the collective, and to have experiences. What was the pathway you created for yourself to do that? And what are the soul contracts you created with people, experiences, and mostly people, experiences, sometimes places. What are the soul contracts you created for yourself to help you along and keep you on that blueprint? You know you're off your blueprint. You know you're off the path you created for yourself when something is getting harder and harder and harder and harder. So for instance, in my banking career, there were several years where things started getting really, really hard. But I'm a fighter, so I'm going to keep on going, because I was protecting people at the company. So I thought, I can't leave. I got to protect these people. But my contract was coming to an end on being in corporate. But since I didn't know that's what was happening, I was ignoring it, and things got harder and harder and harder until the decision was made for me. And that's what the universe will do. Thankfully, the universe has some parameters that they can help us with. They can't interfere with free will, but they can help us by turning up the heat. Thank God they do that. But that's what I channel, is what is your mission and purpose? Why are you experiencing the traumas you are? What are the contracts you set up for yourself to help you really confirm what it is that you feel that you're being called to do? So intuition is number 3. It's critical in allowing the collapse and then the rebuild. Number 4 is kind of like 3A or 4, is follow and trust the pull and the call and the intuition hits that you're getting. So trust it. The more you trust and you just follow the breadcrumbs that the universe brings you. So for instance, I started channeling out of the blue a couple years ago. I started giving private sessions for people. Then I was nudged last year to come out on social media. I didn't know how to do that. So I just followed the signs that the universe brought me, and it led to even more expansion and more beauty and joy. when you follow and trust the pull, the universe will guide you. Now, you might, if we're talking about creating a career or a business, you might not see a monetary kickback right at first. And this next part I just want to touch on. This is for maybe my next post, because there's a lot here too that comes in from my guides. But you're here on a very, very specific mission and purpose to help with the collapse of the systems. If you're watching this now or later, you're here to help with the collapse of the systems. Guaranteed. So then you think, I'm going to follow the call and create the business. But where's the money? Where's the money? The money's not coming in yet. We have been indoctrinated to believe a very patriarch paradigm of when you do, you get paid, right? If you work 80 hours a week in your finance or your whatever education job or your medical job, you'll get paid, right? Keep giving and we'll give you a little paycheck, right? That's not how the universe works. This is a man-made construct. So when you follow the pull and you follow the intuition to build, and you you remove your need to have money come in directly from that mission, and you allow the universe to provide for you as you're building, I'll just tell you that life is so much smoother. Life will be so much smoother for you. So I most of my clients, when they want business advice, the information that comes in, there's always so much, it's always so deep, but the information that comes in is release your expectation for monetary payment right now for your business and let the universe bring it in other ways. Because again, it's a man-made construct. Money's not real. Money's man-made. And there's really no value. That's another post. So keep following the call in your business. Keep following the call to, if it's to leave corporate, to get into something else, to get into another area. Release your expectations for money. Release your expectations for monetary payment for that. That's going to help you expand so much faster and allow the universe to deliver basically miracles to help you pay your bills, to help you, support yourself from a financial perspective. But when you keep them linked, it's like, you inch forward, you edge forward, because your frustration and your fear around not making money from your business can hinder you, because you're going to bring more of that in because of the law of attraction, which we're not going to get into either. But the law of attraction is real, and the more you're focusing on how your business isn't making money, the more it could continue to do that. So just follow the call. Do what you're being called to do, whether it's sound healing, Reiki, astrology, human design. I'm a channel, but that, I didn't ask for this. It just came in. Follow the call and remove your expectations to get paid right away, and you will build. The universe will build for you and it will provide for you, but they don't have to be connected. Okay, so those are the 4 things that you can do to help with the collapse of old systems. The faster they collapse, the faster the new can be built. All right. So how will the collapse happen and what can we do? Well, it's already happening. And if you watch the news or watch anything from social media or whatever, you'll see that there's quite a bit of collapse going on. And if it's not super clear to you based on whatever you're seeing, you can tell in massive fluctuations of, just look at gas. I know there's a lot of talk about the investments and stuff up and down, up and down. Again, I don't watch the news at all. I just channel this stuff. But you can see the panic around medicine, right? You can see the panic. There's panic around education, trying to take away rights for parents, things like that. There's panic right now. So that's how you can tell that the systems are collapsing. Don't let the fear inundate you. That is how we're controlled, is by fear. So don't let the fear inundate you. Just trust that it's all happening for our good, and follow the call to do whatever it is you're here to do. And you will be protected. You're provided for. We're all safe, and there's nothing to worry about. But when you see things on the news that cause fear, that's on purpose. They're trying to get a fear response out of you so that you do what they're asking you to do, which is continue to contribute to the systems that are supposed to be collapsing. So the other thing, so what can we do? I just gave the four examples of what we could do. And then I'm reading the notes here that I wrote during my channeling of this. just a reminder that those of us that have incarnated as divine feminine or as the feminine, we had a choice to incarnate, and we incarnated as the divine feminine, and we brought past life power and magic into this lifetime to help with all of this. We've been, like I said, warriors and leaders and medicine women in other lifetimes. We're bringing those gifts to this lifetime now. And as we're being called out, it's creating more imbalance. For those of you that are here as divine feminine leaders that don't feel called yet to leave corporate jobs, you're being called to stand in your truth. You're being called to hold the line, basically hold the pose in corporate, to bring the light, to help infiltrate it from within. So there's a lot going on here. Let's see, what else do I have on this? Great. Yep, touched on the money part. I think I might have covered almost everything already. That's great. The last little bits I have here is to trust that your path is more important than you can imagine. And I'm just going to pause here and say, I did leave a few minutes to answer any questions that you guys have. I'll live channel the information. If it's a super long answer, I might follow up, but I'll at least get a little tidbit. So if you guys have any questions about the collapse of the systems, leaving corporate, creating new businesses, or being guided to something within your career, if you have any questions, put them in the chat and I'll answer them for you. I'll channel at the end. But what I really want you guys to leave here with is that you're here for something huge. You're here for something huge. It reminds me of Pretty Woman, where she goes into the store to buy clothes, and they wouldn't help her because she wasn't dressed the way they wanted, as someone they wanted to help. And she comes back in later all dressed to the T after Richard Gere buys her a bunch of stuff, and she said, "You made a huge mistake." Huge. Well, you're here for a huge reason. Huge. You're here for a big mission and purpose, and trust that your path is more important than you can ever imagine. Just know that everything in your life that's led you to this point is to help you create balance over many lifetimes, evolve as a soul, evolve as a human, to help the collective, to learn certain lessons, and to have experiences. But what I'm here speaking about today is you're here to help with the collapse of the old systems. And your intuition and following your intuition is absolutely critical for that, because that's where the blueprint is. The plan that you created for yourself, which is cohesive with all of the other souls that have incarnated here, that are here to help with the collapse. We're all on the same page. We all created this together. You just can't remember. I can't remember. So our intuition is what guides us. So just know that you're here for a big, big purpose. Okay. So don't see any questions right now. If you do have a question, if you watch this later and you have a question, you can DM me the question, or you can, if there's a place to put it here, you can put the question and I'll channel the answers and get back to you. Oh, got a question. Katie! Is there any guidance on timing of the collapse, and when will we shift collectively to the divine feminine? Yes, so awesome. So, the answer is already coming in. So the answer is a fluid answer. So timing of the collapse, it's already happened. And the timing of the collapse, I would say, when we talk about like when it will fully be collapsed, is dependent on us. So this is what's coming in now, but they've touched on this a little bit before. That's dependent on us, right? That's dependent on the divine feminine, following your intuition. And for me, like, it took me more years than it should have probably to leave. Although I had a very big mission and purpose at that company. It took me a few more years, right, than it could have. And some people stay in their corporate jobs 10, 15 years longer than they should. That's happening across the board. So it depends on us. Are we listening to our intuition? But the general guidance I get is that we're really seeing things starting to come to a head. It feels like over the next 3 years is what I'm getting. It really over the next 3 years, but there's going to be some residual, like, it's like when a war is over, there might be still some residual stuff on the sides where people are still like shooting people or like doing awful things. Just because someone called the war over doesn't mean that it's not ripple effect. So it looks like the next 3 years is going to be continue to show a lot of chaos and then and collapse of the systems, and then it will continue and ripple out for a while. But it really depends on us as far as when will we shift collectively to the divine feminine. That is a longer process, it feels like. So what I'm getting is that, it's a longer process, but there isn't any one answer. There isn't like, it'll be 50 years or 100 years. It isn't about that. It's an organic change. So as we wake up to our divine feminine mission and purpose and powers, and we leave corporate, or we're creating our own job or creating our own businesses to help with the rebirth and the rebuild, the divine feminine then ripples out into the collective and encourages other divine feminines to wake up. It's like we're walking around zombies and all of a sudden something happens and we wake up, and our divine feminine reminders and power come on board. So as far as a collective, they're not giving me like a direct answer on this. It's decades down the road. But the divine feminine collective awakening is happening right now. It's been happening. So I'm getting like a really, really strong 10 years at least. About 10 years it's really, really been in full force. Yeah. A little bit longer than that, but it's happening right now. And the more of us that wake up to our purpose and our mission and step onto that path that we created for ourselves and bring all of our experience from the old world, from the systems that are collapsing, the more we do that, the more other divine feminine around us wake up. And that's why it's so important to speak your truth and to speak, and to share what you're doing, to share your work, because you're here to influence a specific niche of the planet. And only you can really get through to certain people on the planet. Only your story is going to resonate with people that my story will not. And that's why it's really important for the divine feminine to heal the lifetimes of being silenced and shunned and murdered and all of that for our truth and our gifts. It's time to heal that. And that's what we're seeing is a lot of women being called to create these businesses that don't seem like anything that we've ever heard of, but it's because we're bringing back the old magic. We're bringing back the old ways to heal in the only ways that we can heal, so that we can find our voice again, so that we can speak confidently our truth and our power to help with this awakening and the collapse. So any other questions, let me know. And I'll just end with, if you want to work with me and have me channel and confirm for you. Usually it's just a lot of confirmation, but I channel around love, relationships, career, business, health. I'm also a medium. I haven't really been marketing that or messaging that, but recently my guides told me it's time. And the healing that comes from connecting with past loved ones is really beautiful, and it's changed my life. But if you want to know, why you're being guided, if you want confirmation about leaving corporate, if you want confirmation on your mission and purpose, which will help provide the context around why you're feeling what you're feeling, why you're feeling drawn to leave corporate, or why you're feeling drawn to create your own business, why you're having challenges in your relationships. I channel the Akashic records and all of the information around your experiences and your trauma and why you have the trauma you've had, what you're here to experience the trauma for, what is it doing, and what is it teaching you. So thank you for all of you for joining live. I don't think there's any more questions. Again, if you have any questions after watching this video, you can direct message them to me or put them in the comment section, and I will come back and read them and send you the answers. So thank you for being here. I'm going to be going live every Tuesday, so sharing channeled guidance and channeling live for entrepreneurs that I'm going to be bringing on / interviewing and channeling live for them and sharing their mission and purpose as a whole, specifically aligned to their business and why they've been drawn to create that business. And also I will be doing sessions where I come on here and just answer questions from you guys. So we'll get some more people to join first before we go there. But I'm thinking the last week of the month I'll be bringing or coming on to channel live for you guys. So if you want to know anything else about me, read about my journey and how this all started, you can go to my website by clicking the link in my blog. And thank you for joining, guys, and I'll see you soon.